We are ready. Hola a todos, estoy aquí para comunicaros que me retiro del tenis profesional.
Rafael Nadal.
Hi everyone. So some of us tennis fans, or almost all of us, have been expecting this for a couple of years, especially if you've been following Rafa Nadal's career. So today, Rafael Nadal announced his retirement from tennis after 22 Grand Slam wins. And he also announced that his final tournament will be next month, Davis Cup. Nadal's final tournament will be November's Davis Cup in Malaga, where he'll be representing Spain. So he announced his retirement from tennis at age 38 after an absolutely illustrious career.
La realidad es que han sido unos años difíciles, estos dos últimos especialmente. Creo que no he sido capaz de jugar sin limitaciones. Es una decisión que evidentemente es difícil, que me ha llevado tiempo tomarla, pero en esta vida pues todo tiene un principio y un final, y creo que es el momento adecuado para poner punto y final a lo que ha sido una carrera larga y mucho más exitosa de lo que jamás me hubiera podido imaginar.
He won 22 Grand Slams and cemented his legacy as one of the sport's greatest stars. Some will say definitely top two. Some will say top three, some will say top two. Just depends on your point of view. Like I said, his final tournament will be the Davis Cup finals in Malaga, Spain this November. He hasn't played since the Paris Olympics earlier this year. Nadal played for a remarkable 23 years as a senior player. He turned professional age 14 in 2001, and I'll get into what he did in his career in a minute. But high level, he won 14 French Open titles, 4 US Opens. Incredible. And why I say incredible is because when Nadal started his career, everyone just thought, he's just a clay court player. But he won 4 US Open titles and 1 Australian Open title. That is 5 titles, Grand Slams, won outside clay. But wait for it, that's not all. He also won 2 titles in Wimbledon, right? So 2 titles in Wimbledon, so two grass slams, 1 Australian Open, which is hard court, 4 US Opens, like I mentioned, and an amazing 14 French Open titles. Does anybody think that the 14 French Open titles will ever be matched? I think the next person after that is Bjorn Borg on 6, if my memory serves me correct. Leave it in the comments and let me know what you think. So going back to it, he's widely considered the greatest player ever on clay. Like I mentioned, and he has two long-running rivalries with Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic, which for me is the stuff of sporting legend. So he had a long rivalry with Roger Federer. Roger Federer, of course, retired a few years ago, and Novak Djokovic, who is still playing and widely considered the greatest player to ever play tennis. But to have 2 solid rivalries with 2 of the greatest players ever, 3 of them, that's Novak Djokovic, Rafa Nadal, and Roger Federer, shared 66 Grand Slam titles between 3 of them. Absolutely amazing career. And and to the numbers, let's go to the numbers. He won 22 Grand Slam titles, 14 French Open titles, the most by any player at any slam, 112 victories at Roland Garros. Incredible. 4 defeats at Roland Garros. Wow. 4 US Open titles, like I said, 2 Wimbledon titles, like I said, 2 Australian Open titles, 13 years between Nadal's 2 Melbourne titles, in 2009 and 2022, 30 Grand Slam final appearances, of which he won 22. Fantastic success rate in finals, especially at slams, 92 tour level single titles, 2 Olympic gold medals, 1 in singles and 1 in doubles, 36 ATP Masters 1000 titles, 4 Davis Cup titles with Spain. It might make that 5 next month, we'll see. 12 titles at the Barcelona Open with 11 at the Monte Carlo Masters. 81 consecutive matches won on clay between April 2005 to May 2007. 209 weeks spent at world number 1. 5 years ended as world number 1. 912 consecutive weeks spent in the top 10 between April 2005 and March 2023. More than any other man. And I think that's when the decline started. Injuries, and yeah, it was just, yeah, he's had injuries. And yeah, just to add that as well, in all of this that I've just mentioned, he battled injuries. There were times where he missed quite a lot of slams due to injuries. He's had surgeries on his knee, he's had tendinitis on his wrist, he's had all sorts of injuries because of the way he plays in terms of the physicality. When you watch Nadal, his movement and everything is really crazy. He goes for every ball. I mean, he used to go for every ball when he was much younger. And the side effect or the consequence of having that kind of physical approach compared to, say, like Roger Federer or a Novak Djokovic, who they are not as physical as Nadal is. So they didn't have as much injuries. So that's a consequence of the way he plays. But I love the way he plays, and a lot of people do. Same way they love the way Roger Federer plays and Djokovic. All three of them have different styles of tennis. 24 victories over Roger Federer from 40 matches. 29 victories over Novak Djokovic from 60 matches. So Djokovic is leading that rivalry 31-29. And for the Roger Federer one, 24-16 in favor of Rafa Nadal. 1,080 tour level matches won. They tried to honor Rafa Nadal at Roland Garros earlier this year, but they shelved those plans after I told the tournament organizers it might not be his last French Open. But this has now transpired to be the case based on today's announcement that he's retiring next month. So he's never going to play French Open again. So maybe the next, I don't know, the next French Open they do, they may call him out and then honor him, but it will not be as an active player. So Spain will be facing the Netherlands in the Davis Cup quarterfinals. Sorry, not finals, like I said, quarterfinals between 19th and 21st of November next month. And Nadal was added to the squad in September as he missed the group stage due to injury. So Nadal he's been kind of like cryptic about the exact date of his departure in the past. It was probably toying with the idea, but you know, the truth is, this is hardly a career cut sadly short by injury. At the age of 38, Nadal has gone on years longer than many said he would when he first emerged on the scene. A teenager with bulging biceps and joints that could surely not withstand 2 decades of punishment from his tenacious game style, like I mentioned earlier. I think he will go on as one of the greatest all-time players, penultimate of the big four to depart the stage, with only Djokovic remaining from that era of men's tennis, which in my lifetime I don't think it will be replicated. So the big four being Novak Djokovic, Rafa Nadal, Andy Murray, and Roger Federer. Some say it's just big three and they removed Murray from it, but I think we should not disrespect Murray. So Murray definitely, Sir Andy Murray definitely is in the big four. So he did mention in the past as well that he he was struggling with the decision. He actually loves tennis, but the thing is, his body, he probably loves his body more, and injury after injury just becomes very, very difficult. And this year's French Open, he played and lost in the first round in straight sets. And I think for somebody who has won the tournament 14 times, to lose in straight sets in the first round, perhaps that was like an indicator to him. This is my favorite tournament. I've won it 14 times and I'm losing in the first round. Yeah, albeit to, a great player, Zverev, but 14, to lose in the first round of French Open must have been quite a painful thing. But like I said, he's been battling with injuries, and time will tell. I think some players hang up their boots and have almost nothing to do with tennis. Pete Sampras is an example. He exited the game. He's not a coach. He's not a commentator. Occasionally, he'll go to tennis matches. Occasionally, he's been to some finals to watch, but he's largely stayed away from tennis. So it'll be interesting to see whether Nadal, who also has an academy, will have a front role in the game in terms of, will he commentate? Will he opt to spend more time in his academy, spend time with his family, of course? Will he go on to do things with Real Madrid? Maybe, a director, sporting director, or the president. Last year, I think, was it last year? Yeah, it was, people were saying, oh, Nadal could be the next president. People were mentioning his name along those lines to be the next president of Real Madrid. That didn't happen. But now with this retirement, maybe in a few years, he's a huge Real Madrid supporter. And, the club has honored him in their own way severally. So it remains to be seen whether Nadal will continue in tennis actively, or he'll, join football or do other things. One thing is for sure, he gave his absolute best to tennis. He was not perfect. He had, his flaws like every other human being, but he, in my opinion, gave his absolute best to the game. He won as much as he could, had some painful losses to Djokovic, painful losses to Federer, painful losses to Murray, but also sweet victories against all three. And it will go on to be one of the best players in the history of the sport. Congratulations, Rafa Nadal, and enjoy your retirement. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe, like, and share this. I cover tennis from time to time, and I'll see you in the next one.